Hello all, welcome Mike Logan from AskMikeTheCounselor2.com, and I'm sorry I keep looking through the bottom half of my bifocals. I can focus a little better. 60-year-old eyes. But at any rate, what I want to talk about today is anger management techniques, and you'll be able to find this at YouTube and TubeMogul and on my website, AskMikeTheCounselor2.com. I'm going to do an anger management workshop this weekend with some court-ordered folks from Winnebago County, and so I'm sort of reviewing. I use a number of different approaches to the concept of anger management. Most people think that anger management is something that happens to them 2 or 3 times a year when they are enraged. And they've moved well into the fight or flight chemistry, and when that happens you have 3 behavioral options. I mean, in a heartbeat, you can go up, your heart rate can go from 80 to 120 in a heartbeat. So that's less than a second, and it's actually, the hormonal bath happens inside your body in 1/18 of a second. That's twice as fast as you can blink your eyes, so you change inside. Excuse me, and there's some survival value in that, being able to change that fast in the jungle. That might be enough time to move your head that far, which could keep you alive. Okay, so the chemical and perceptual changes happen really, really fast. So I change inside of my body. And if I move into rage, I have 3 behavioral options. I can run for my life, fight for my life, or freeze. And if I'm at home with my wife and I'm bigger than she is or stronger than she is, more than likely I'm going to fight for my life. And what I'm trying to do as I strike out into the world is simply relax. Okay? Relax. So what I'm trying to do is discharge that energy so I can get back to where I was before. So what I want to be able to do is have some other relaxation skills online, either cognitive or breathing or physiological, that'll give me, as a guy, about 20 minutes to change my chemistry back to something more socially acceptable, we'll say. Okay, consensus reality. Get that. It takes 1/18 of a second to go up the arousal ladder, about 20 minutes for men to calm down. I can calm down by hitting somebody. Okay, so I hit somebody and I feel real good as they fall to the floor, and then they call the police and I go to jail. Consequences not so good. I can remember, which is part of what we're going to talk about today, rational and motor behavior therapy. I can do some deep breathing, okay, and it'll take a little bit of attention and focus for me to do deep breathing when my thoughts are about you have stolen something from me or you have offended me and we need to rectify this imbalance, okay? Or I can do something like heart math, which is heart rate variability biofeedback, and we'll do another video on that. I can, instead of thinking about how you have done me wrong, I can think about my children and place the image of them inside of my chest, the memory of them, if you will. And my heart has learned over the years of practice that I've done heart rate variability or heart math biofeedback that it is to calm down when I create this particular thought. Heart has a very powerful neurological system, a nervous system of its own, if you will, and it can learn and make decisions independently of the brain. Heart sends all kinds of data up to the brain. More data goes and comes down. The heart actually sets its own beat. Okay, and it's a sensory organ. So I can do deep breathing. I can change my thought. I can get outside and take a walk. And while I'm taking that walk, I want to be thinking thoughts like, what is the next right thing to do? What is the next right thought to have? Gratitude is the attitude is one that's always worked well for me, because even in my most difficult moments in terms of anger, I can typically think of one thing that I'm grateful for, and that's to be alive. Okay, once that was close to not being an option once. So I can remember, even in its worst days, that being alive is better than the alternative. Okay. So what I want to talk a little bit about is a model, a thinking model or cognitive model for managing your anger called rational and motor behavior therapy. And I'm sure you've seen references to this. It's originated, a school of therapy originated by Albert Ellis, And it's particularly, he might say something to you, why are you depressing yourself, or why are you angering yourself, or what purpose does that serve? He's saying to you in so many words, it's your thought about the event that makes you feel a certain way, depressed or angry. You might say, gosh, you're watching this video at home, it looks like I'm on your computer screen. Well, it's not. I'm actually back here. The words that I'm saying you're going to hear inside of your head, the pressure from the chair you're sitting in, you're going to feel inside of your head, sensory motor cortex. In other words, the entire experience of your reality is inside your own head, even though it all seems to be outside of you. Nice Zen concept, huh? Okay. Well, the first thing to do in the rational emotive therapy model is to recognize early warning signs of anger. Physical warning signs, stomach tightness, clenching teeth. Behavioral warning signs, throwing things, hitting things, or people yelling. Thinking warning signs. You find yourself thinking, she shouldn't have done that. He must do it the way I want it done. I've helped him in the past. He should help me now. My kids should be grateful for all the sacrifices I've made. Should is a key word. You and should. If I catch those words inside of my head, I am generating adrenaline and cortisol in my body, and if I'm not careful, that's going to take me into a tirade or tantrum. Okay, once you recognize one of those red flags of anger, you begin to use the ABC model. Okay, ABCDEF actually. So it's, one of my guys calls it the Epictitus model. Okay, A stands for activator. An activator can be anything. Something that happened, something that didn't happen, things that I've done, things that you've done. And a belief follows almost immediately, 1/18th of a second. A belief is my interpretation of the event. For example, a camera or somebody scowls at me from my son, especially somebody I care about. I may respond to that nonverbal cue with adrenaline and cortisol before I even have a thought about, gosh, she just stubbed her toe. So the physiology sometimes is faster than the words. In that 18th of a second, I'd better be ready to start doing, okay, what Ellis would call disputation questions. I begin to ask myself disputation questions that dispute my thought. In the example above, my wife scowls at me. I feel fear, anger, rage, and I think to myself, that nasty woman. Okay. And before I speak, I want to be able to go. I want to be able to ask myself questions like, well, where is it written that my wife is not going to scowl at me? And it's not written anywhere. Okay? And perhaps I deserve a scowl. Okay? Where's it written? Disputation question. She shouldn't scowl at me. Where's it written, okay, that she's not going to scowl at me? I can begin to reduce the chemistry in my body and the intensity of the emotion simply by disputing the thought. Okay. The next thought might be, okay. Actually, that's a very good disputation question, okay? Now, once I've done the disputation question, I want to create an effective belief, okay, inside of my head. So I'm cycling very rapidly through this thinking process, okay? I recognize one of the red flags. I have a thought, gosh, my wife is scowling at me. I dispute the thought, well, where is it written that she's not going to scowl at me? And then I create an effective belief along the lines of, well, she is scowling. Maybe she stubbed her toe, or let me check out what's going on. I can get angry later if I want. So I can say, honey, you look angry. Are you scowling at me or something I did? Do we need to talk? I can ask her that. And I've already transformed the intensity of the anger, and I've done it really, really quickly. The key piece that I have for anger management is that it's got to happen fast. Okay, then I rewrite the level of the intensity of my feeling, okay? I'm normal until I see my wife scowl, then I ramp up to about 6 on the 0 to 10 anger scale, do my disputation, maybe take a couple of deep breaths, and ask my wife for clarification, and then I rewrite the intensity of my feeling. Now if I'm still at level 6, I want to repeat that process. Okay, because the goal of anger management is not necessarily to transform the external world, it's to transform the inner one. Okay, So if I'm only down to 5.5 or 5, maybe I repeat the relaxation or the disputation process a couple of times before I speak in order to make sure that I'm not going to be driven into some kind of behavior by my body. Okay?